Hello and welcome. My name is Joe and I am the Panicked Monk, and you are watching Lost in Time, a Dwemer's tale. Hello.
You there. I have something for you.
Who are you?
Who I am is not important. What is important is if you take this note, read it out of sight. People could be watching.
What are you talking about?
Everything you need to know is written in the note.
Alright, well, that was unexpected. This episode is actually going to be mostly just kind of taking some time to go over our final episode of Chapter 4 and listening to my son bang around in the room above me. I'll try to scrub that out, but some things can't be helped. Anyway, let's start with our first encounter right here. This is coming from Concertante Tower Reborn. It is a Dark Fox 127 mod, and I kind of forgot that I had it in my load order, to be honest, but there it is. So it will kick off at a certain point. That dude, Andean, will come and find you and deliver a message. And that is kind of the start of that particular quest, that mod. So, we have that to contend with, but not right now. What I want to actually do is delve a little bit into episode 39 and kind of go over that little 19-minute nugget of goodness. There was a lot packed in there, and so we're going to just do some traveling. We're going to enjoy the scenic tour of Skyrim from Winterhold down to just past Windhelm. We are currently heading to the Velothi trial chambers, and we'll get to that in a moment. And what we need to do is, I think, wrap up what happened last episode. So what did happen last episode? We came to the pinnacle of our quest for the Eye of Magnus to try to control it. And I wanted to handle that. I wanted to handle that scene, that whole climax differently. I could have very well and easily played through that encounter against Encano and the magic anomaly that comes from the eye and all that. And that would have been fine and dandy. But that really wasn't the point of the episode. The point of the episode is actually what happened after that. So I wanted to present that encounter, but I didn't want it to make a focal point. And to be honest, watching me run around in circles like a chicken with my head cut off would not have been all that terribly entertaining. Well, maybe it would have, but I don't think it would have been. So I opted to condense that scene, make it more of a visual, cinematic, emphasizing its importance in a condensed form, augmented with some audio to amp up the drama a little bit. So we got the experience of that battle without actually having to drag you through my particular play style in doing those types of battles, which is chaotic at best. So if you're looking for strategic, technical, planned out battles, I am probably not the person for that. It's just not what I do. I totally enjoy watching them. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not very good at putting those together. And quite honestly, I don't enjoy putting that kind of stuff together. So I would rather take the concept and the idea and present it as just that, to emphasize its importance, but not to focus on the encounter and the battle itself. That's going to happen during gameplay as we go through the story, as it is. So in this particular sense, in episode 39, I didn't feel that was important to the storyline. What was important was what happened after, as I had mentioned earlier. And that is because at that point, Szenac had defeated Encano. He had defeated the magic anomaly that came from the eye. He had everything he needed within his grasp to begin understanding, to begin trying to control the power and use it in a way that would connect him back with his people and his culture, that is, the Dwemer. So when that was taken away by the Psijics, that was kind of the focal and the pinnacle of that episode. And how he dealt with that. And as we saw, how he dealt with it was to really just lament the loss, because he didn't have a plan B. That was the only plan he had. So he was in that now what phase. Probably a little dumbstruck. He didn't know really even what to think. Because he just had this assumption that this was the answer. And this was the answer that was given to him in his subconscious by this other being that we've come to know indirectly, a little bit directly, as the Banished One. We don't know who this Banished One is, what he's all about, or why yet. We will hopefully discover that coming up, but right now it's nothing more than just a subconsciousness. Szenac can't even pinpoint. He doesn't know that this Banished One really even exists. So he's thinking that these ideas are coming kind of to him on another level, but not necessarily from another entity. So when that orb was taken away, he was pretty much crushed. There was really, as I had said, no plan B. What to do now? So, we had this heavy scene of him kind of lamenting that fact and growing angry and voicing his anger against the Psijics. Which kind of leads us also into the question of why is it important? What is it that he needs so badly that he needs to go back, that he needs to connect back with his people? From what we understand of his history up to this point, or up to that point, was he really didn't have a firm stake in his culture. He was an orphan. He was abandoned. We get the sense that he was rather, or is rather, introverted. He kind of a loner. He didn't associate with really anyone outside of the master that took him in as an apprentice. Okay, we're going to grab some screen caps, I think, of this here, because that's just kind of gorgeous. I did mention we're going to enjoy the scenery as we went, so. We don't get a sense that there's really much of a life for Szenac to go back to. So why is it that he has this drive, this need, this urge to go back? And I think the answer is really as simple as comfort. You know, his origins are a known factor. He knows his place, he knows his culture, he knows what's expected of him and how the Dwemer, how his people operate. So it really comes down to it's a comfort zone. And he wants to get back to what he knows. He's suddenly cast out into this world that he is unfamiliar with, and it's uncomfortable. So he feels that if he can get back and reconnect, then everything will be fine. Everything will be exactly how it's supposed to be. Not really understanding that perhaps there's a bigger picture. Now, for some characters, this could be seen as an opportunity. You know, a blank slate, a time to start over. But for someone of Szenac's, I guess, insecurities, this isn't an opportunity. This is frightening. So he has spent pretty much everything up until this point trying to gain back what he feels he lost. You know, it's his security blanket. So I think that's really the primary drive of Szenac wanting to get back to his people. Oh, I love the sunsets in Skyrim. So we have that, and now that opportunity, that security blanket, has been thrown away. He feels there is no other opportunity. This was the last thing, the last way for him to get back. So now he's he's almost starting over, or he was. But then something happened. Something happened he did not expect.
How do you feel? I think you might be sick.
And that thing...
The vigil will be watching.
That thing was... Oh, nice timing for our conjuration to dissipate, huh?
Alright, hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish.
Let's see if we can take care of this guy first. Can we just tell him to go away?
Nice try, but you don't scare me.
Apparently not.
I'm not gonna ask again.
Alright, we just simply don't have time for this.
Never should have come.
Alright. Looks like he's a dual wielder, so that could present some trouble. Depends on really the weapons that he's using, but dual wielders can dole out a lot of damage. Hopefully we can keep them stunned and at bay long enough to get some good licks in. I think this stone skin that we've got firing off with Akado's recital has been a definite boon. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Mercy. Yeah. Because that always works, right? Okay, so where were we? starting over. We were starting over until the unexpected happened. And that was not only the female voice that we had heard in Mozart, but she uttered something new. And that was to come to me. And that was completely new. And the music box, that's new. Now the music box is significant in that, of course, he wouldn't associate that with his mother, but he would associate it with his childhood. It would be something he would associate with motherhood, tenderness, care, security, safety, because it would have been something that he heard through the windows of the other kids, the other children, as their parents would settle them down and tuck them in for the night and all of that. So it's a sound that he would associate with those types of tenderness, tender feelings, that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily something that he has experienced firsthand, but something that represents a mood or safety, caring. So this sound comes into play in accordance with this voice, and then as he enters his quarters after spending pretty much all night in the cold, kind of numb and just not even sure what to do. Okay, we're gonna have to go take a little bit better look at this. The sunsets and sunrises are gorgeous, but so are the auroras. Very nice. I love it. Galaxy hanging out up there, kind of framing the mountain landscape. Beautiful. I love how it reflects off the water. And this is not even a very this is a very low res version, so if I had the capacity to amp up the resolution, I think I would probably be just kind of stammering right now. That's gorgeous. So we're going to head into Windhelm here. It is nighttime. Szenac does not like traveling at night because the night times are so dark. And that is due to the contrast settings, which I do have a reason for them. So let's head in. I think we've been here before, so we're just going to get a room for the night. Usually she's kind of right over there, but I don't see her.
Come on, just
So
the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Szenac met up with the ghost of his mother.
Got some fresh baked bread and good cheese if you're after a bite to eat.
And that was completely
Sure
unexpected.
thing. It's yours for a day.
He knows there's always been a voice, and it's not the same voice that led him down this path of the Eye of Magnus.
I'll show you to your room.
It's definitely a different voice, but he's never been able to understand or pinpoint who it was or where it was coming from. So
Know about Talos? He founded the Empire.
Let me know if there's
he was
anything else you need.
very surprised. Let's take a moment here. Come on. She's not leaving because her conjuration is blocking the doorway. Come on, get out of there. Get. Dude, you're like completely blocking the entire doorway. Alright, well, it's a blessing and a curse. This conjured sorcerer, the civilized sorcerer, does last for a long time, which most often works to your benefit, but in times like this, not so much. Oh, now she's gone. Okay. Well, let's just close the door and force him in or out. So we're going to take a moment to look at a couple things that we have picked up. One for sure is this note from that Andean that stopped us on the bridge.
Just follow me to the store.
And see what that's all about. Andean's note. Szenac Bhadlin, pay close attention. My name is Andean, and I have been tasked with delivering an ancient artifact to you. I am part of a secret order whose name I cannot disclose. Our job is to archive special items and messages to be delivered across Tamriel. This particular artifact is one of two that we have been sworn to protect for hundreds of years. The other artifact was stolen by one of our own, a man who goes by the name of Urbren. His motives for taking the artifact remain a mystery. We do not know who is sending you these artifacts, but we do know that they intend the items to be yours. The short message which accompanies these artifacts is to head to the mountains of Winterhold. There you will find your way. We think that whoever has the other artifact knows this too, and has already made their way there. You should follow their tracks and retrieve what is yours. Okay, well, should have read that earlier. We're up in Winterhold, but we... First, what's this? Huh. Nernling. The Master demands your presence on Masser during the next cycle. We meet at the indicated location. Failure to comply will not be tolerated. Quomac. Kavazum. Well, now that's awfully curious. Definitely Dwemer. I don't know where we got that. I don't recall picking that up. That is something that
Oh boy, this...
I believe just appeared in our inventory. Huh. Well, one thing at a time. Rest, and then continue on our way. We are continuing to the Velothi trial chambers.
Will you spare a few coins to help someone who's got nothing? I ain't asking for much. Just a few septims.
Come along, no more stops. We need to find our way to Solitude.
Why are we even going to a wedding at this far-flung end of the Empire anyway?
I told you, it's the wedding of Vittoria Vici, an extremely well-connected merchant with the East Empire Company. The Emperor's cousin, remember? Hopefully these gifts will put us in her good graces, secure that import deal, and lead the way to an order.
The Velothi trial chambers are just that. They're a trial chamber. They have an entrance, or rather it would be considered an exit, attached along the backside of Kakrenzel. We'll learn more about the Velothi trial chambers in coming episodes, but it would have been an area where people were put to judgment, and most often it was essentially an execution chamber. But for the lucky few that were allowed, they would be allowed to exit up by Cagrenzel and continue the trials of the orb in Cagrenzel.
Was I in your way?
So it's kind of a very roughly related to the orb that is within the Cagrenzel ruins and still is there today. But again, we'll go over more of that later. So we are actually coming up to the end of this particular episode. It's just a short travel video that I want to take some time to talk a little bit about our previous action, well, maybe not action-packed, but content-packed, story-packed episode 39. So hopefully I've been able to kind of recap some of that, and we'll talk more about Szenac's mother and coming along with the Velothi trial chambers, and we'll learn more about why she was able to contact him now and not earlier, and all that good stuff. So, but I think also it's important to note that this journal that he now has, that was given to him by his mother's spirit, it would have been hidden in the basket that he was originally smuggled out in, and it was kind of lost to the ages. And over those ages, as she struggled in her spirit form, was able to locate it and gain enough strength to return it, to give him some answers to who she is and why he was orphaned. So Szenac now has a little bit more to work with. But that will have to wait until next time. So until then, safe journeys.